What is up? Welcome back to the channel. Today, guys, we're going over my tier list of chest exercises. Here's how we're doing this. If I go in the gym, the first box is my go-tos. Then it's like my second option. If they don't have that, machine at the gym, then what do they have next after that? Third option. And then we get down to like, this is all they got? That'll work. And the last one is like, meh, maybe I'm not gonna train chest today. That's basically the ranking system, and they're based on these parameters. Number one, they are going to put you in a great optimal position to build muscle all over around. The full range of motion from top to bottom. Two, it's gotta be easy to do. And then obviously you have to be able to progressive overload it. Now, again, those parameters aren't in order. That's just how it is. So first on the list, we have dips. All right, guys, so I love dips. I like dips. Whether you're doing, assisted dips, a dip machine, I think is a great exercise to do. You're gonna get an amazing stretch. Great option to help build your chest. I look at that as more like a chest and a tricep exercise. So for me, as good as exercise is, I'm gonna put it down in the, this all they got, still a good exercise. Now we got decline dumbbell press. Decline pressing for me, when it comes to dumbbell, you're gonna get a good stretch in the length part of the lift. And you're gonna get full range of motion because it's dumbbells. You're gonna be able to get all the way down and all the way up. Great. The problem with it is setting it up. You gotta get inside, hook your feet in, get the dumbbells somehow, I don't know, pick them up somewhere, and then lower yourself back down. When you're lying almost upside down, it's damn near impossible for some people even to pick that up and not just be like this in the end. So for me, it's like, meh. We have flat dumbbell press. All right, flat bench. It's not the king of all exercises, but it's a good exercise to do. Obviously, for me, I'm gonna make something a 15 degree because for most people, we're lacking that upper chest. So doing flat bench is good, but again, when it comes to overall stimulus, we're getting a good exercise because we got dumbbells. So we get a great full range of motion. So for me, it's not gonna be number one, but it's definitely gonna be an option 3, right? We're getting a good full range of motion on it. We can definitely progressive overload with it, with dumbbells and whatnot. It's fairly easy to do, and that's the reason why it's not at the top. Again, when it comes to dumbbells altogether, when I'm talking about progressions, getting to dumbbells would be the highest step, I would say, in that progression. And what I mean by that is, we'll start from a plank, right? Since we're talking about chest. If you can't do a plank, you're not gonna be able to do a push-up. If you can't do a push-up, you're not gonna be able to press anything. So when it comes to your progression, it's like plank, and then it's like a push-up from your knees, then all of a sudden push-up obviously from your toes and your hands. And then you go from that, it's like I can do push-ups, I can control my core, and then I'm like, all right, let's go to a machine. Smith machine or any kind of machine. We're somewhat safe there. We can just really focus on just being active and controlling the weight. And then we move up to like, your free weight barbells. You gotta worry about a little more stabilization and balance. And then when it comes to dumbbells, you can see the differences. You gotta basically control both sides. And trust me, I've coached for 20 years. And when I see coaches put their clients into dumbbells way too early, it's ugly. It's like they're shaking maracas or something. They're kind of like doing this. Either way, number 3. We got lying floor press dumbbells. Here's the thing, guys. With dumbbells or barbells, we're not gonna be able to get the full range of motion or stretch. We could progressive overload in a sense. Setting it up, full range of motion, all those things, we're not getting it there. It's like, see the way I'm saying it? I'm like, trying to be nice, and like it's an obvious is going down to the meh. You can do better. We have barbell incline press. Number 1, we're gonna get a great full range of motion. We can definitely progressive overload it. It's a movement where a lot of us lack. Studies have shown that doing incline press is gonna build your entire chest. So for me, it's gonna be something that's gonna be in the tier 2. All right, now we got incline Smith machine. You guys already know I love incline Smith machines. It's a great exercise to do. Again, all the same benefits as a barbell, but guess what? We get that safety component. And getting all the benefits of a great exercise is gonna hit the majority of the muscle that lags in most of us, upper pec. You definitely progressive overload it. And when it comes to, basically anyone can kind of do it. Really, it's one of those exercises or machines that you get most beginners into, and they learn on that thing first before they go to the barbell. So we're putting this guy right up to, this is my go-to. All right, we got pec deck. Now I'm not gonna say what kind of pec deck we're just gonna say this is a picture of a pec deck. But in my brand, I'm thinking about the best pec decks in the entire world. There's a couple of brands out there. Nautilus has one, Atlantis, they make some of the best equipment. Either way, I'm thinking about that. Regardless, for chest exercises, sitting down, right? We're doing exactly what the chest is intended to do. We're doing shoulder adduction. Great exercise, awesome. We can definitely progressive overload it. We're in a machine where it's easy to teach, and we're gonna get a absolutely amazing stretch there as well too. So if it's like, hey, I'm at the gym and they got a Smith machine and they got a dope pec deck, guess what I'm doing? Pec deck. We're going to go to. Bam. Next up, we got plate press. We got plate press. All right, you wanna do plate press? You go do you, boo-boo. You go do you. And that's what the meh is too. For me, the meh sign, that meh category is like, hey, you wanna do it, you go right ahead. The only way you're gonna get a better range of motion if you use like a 5-pound plate, but guess what? Now it's too small. We don't get a 4 range of motion because we're down like this. The only benefit you're getting is the peak contraction of squeezing together, and that's not where we're gonna get the most on a muscle recruitment. The entire thing is just, it's a bad exercise. That's going in the meh. All right, we have standing cable flies. Standing cable flies are one of my favorite exercises, for sure. I like it. For me, it's a good exercise because I know how to use my center of mass, basically creating good balance to be able to continue to make sure there's mad tension right in the stretch all the way into the squeeze. You can progressive overload it a bit, and that's why it can't go where the pec deck is, because the heavier we go when we do standing cable fly, the harder it's gonna be to be able to keep ourselves from falling back. There's a threshold there that you get too heavy and you're not moving that at all. So progressive overload isn't as good as it would be if you're doing, say, seated or pec deck. Nonetheless, still a good exercise and fairly easy to do. Again, standing up, having it basically in a neutral position, I would say. If you don't got a pec deck, that's gonna be, yoinks, my second option for sure. All right, we have seated cable flies. Same idea as the standing. Again, we can progressive overload it for sure because now we're seated, we have some leverage to be able to keep us in the seat and we're gonna get a great stretch. We can progressive overload and most people can do this. The only reason why I'm keeping it at my second option seated is just because setting it up when you're doing heavier weight, when you've progressed over and got to the heavier weight, you gotta get over here, pull it in, hold it to the other side, and pull it in, get it out, and then go. Great exercise to do again, like if it's my second option. If we got a pec deck, I'm using the pec deck. Next on the list here, we have incline cable flies, right? So incline cable flies, we're basically emulating doing an incline press. So when it comes to like progressive overload, we have to compare it to Smith machine press, right? I have my top. I'm not gonna be able to progressive overload it as much as a Smith machine because it's gonna be too heavy and I won't be able to actually like pull the damn weight up. It's gonna be uncomfortable and really hard. Just for pure setup, still a good exercise and being, you know, seated, I'm gonna put this on my number 2. Okay, now we have your regular push-ups. Great exercise to do. For beginners, awesome to do. We're gonna get a stretch, not a deep stretch, because again, the floor is gonna get in the way. We're gonna get a deeper stretch than we would if we were doing floor press. But when it comes to progressive overload, again, the progressive overload for push-ups is do more push-ups. Then when you get to doing way more push-ups, you gotta go to machine. So simply because of that, we're gonna put that bad boy down here with our dips. Good exercise to do. Hey, this is all you got. This is what you stuck with. Hey, let's do some push-ups. All right, we have standing cable flies from low to high. Now we have same little bit of an issue when it comes to, I would say, progressive overload, setup, whatnot. We're still gonna get a good stretch. Remember, we're gonna get a great stretch from this. But when it comes to just overall, I'm gonna wanna do it seated, right? When it comes to leverage, control, balance, progressive overload. So for me, that guy's going down to the option 3. All right, we have machine flat press. Now, machine flat press for me is a good exercise. Why? Because any type of machine is gonna have that, the handles where you can get yourself into a really good stretch. Plus, you're in a machine that's gonna keep you safe. If you have good, you know, body awareness and be able to put yourself into great positions, you know, shoulders back and away from your ears, you know, chest up, basically from floor to core, stacking the elbows, stacking your joints. Applying that to machines, you're just dead on to be able to make crazy gains. So when it comes to flat bench, the only reason why I'm not putting this all the way up to the top is because it's flat, but it's definitely gonna be number 2. All right, we have standing cable flies from high to low. Again, we're getting a good stretch. We're getting 4 range of motion, setting it up. Not that hard, to be honest. Progressive overload, again, is gonna have the same issues when it comes to adding more weight because, again, we don't have any leverage. Just for that reason, that's going right down here with the standing low to high cable flies, but it will be a 3rd option. Dumbbell flies are a good option if you don't have a lot of the other things, cables, pec decks, right? If you're stuck with it, you're stuck with it. The thing about it is that you can progressive overload it. The only thing about it is you're not gonna get the most out of the stretch. The only problem with the negative is you kind of lose a lot of the negative because you're not really challenging the muscle much at all until you're like here. It's a good exercise, but again, it's gonna go down to, that's all they got. All right, we have barbell flat bench. We can 100% progressive overload it and get 4 range of motion. It is fairly easy to set up. The biggest part of it is that flat bench, deadlifts, and squats are your highly ego lifted movements. Because of that, it's gonna be down here with, that's all you got left. Hey, it's my third option. If we don't got my go-tos and my second options aren't there, I'm 100% doing flat bench. Incline dumbbell press is up next. We can definitely progressive overload it. It is an exercise that I would recommend that you get all your other movements leading up to it in check. Be able to do a push-up, be able to actually, you know, properly load yourself into a machine, to be able to properly do a barbell press, and then work your way into the dumbbells. Dumbbells are great. We're gonna get a even greater stretch. We're doing inclines, so we're gonna hit that muscle group, that we're gonna hit that part of the chest that most of us lack. So I'm putting this bad boy up here because it is one of my go-tos. All right, we have vertical chest press. Great exercise. We create a crazy amount of leverage. I like this machine because, well, any machine like it, but I like it because when I give the analogy of pretend you're pushing yourself back. Pretend you're like in a wall and you're trying to bust through the back of the wall. That's the best example of that. My feet are planted on the floor from floor to court and I'm just like that, controlling it, getting a deep stretch. Great exercise. One of my go-tos, but that's gonna be an option for me. All right, now we have some deficit push-ups. Awesome. Great thing to progressive overload too, right? When you're going down from, you know, say like a plank, the push-up, and now we're doing deficit to get more stretch. Problem is we can't progressive overload past that. It is easy to set up. You're definitely getting a range of 4 range of motion and great stretch. But when it comes to progressive overload, again, it's something that we gotta move on to something else because we're not gonna be able to fully progressive overload that exercise. Great finisher to do, but this is gonna go right down to, that's all I got. All right, last but not least, dumbbell pullovers. Now, the reason why this is on there is because people still think this is a chest exercise. And I understand, because if you do it wrong, you're gonna feel your tricep in your chest for sure. But it's not a chest exercise. Every one of these movements prior to this movement has had one major thing in common: shoulder adduction, doing this. Or this, or this. Dumbbell pullovers, just because you're squeezing something together and pulling it over your head, somewhat similar to plate press, it doesn't mean it's a chest exercise. You're not gonna progressive overload that exercise to hit your chest better. The range of motion is not that good for your chest. And it's one of those movements, even for doing back, people have a hard time really figuring out how to do dumbbell pullovers. I've done a bunch of videos on dumbbell pullovers. So that is 100% going into the meh. Again, if you like it, you wanna do it, you go right ahead. But look on that bottom list and look up at all the other exercises that are better than those. If you like this type of video, let me know. If there's any exercises that I didn't mention, let's do another list. Mention them in the comment section below and I'll add those in there and we'll do another list. Anyway guys, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and share. You know I'm gonna come out with a tell like it is, transparent, vulnerable truth. Hit the link in the description below for those discount codes or promo codes that save life or change life for the better. And guys, make sure you add me on Instagram, TikTok, send me your progress pics, your training pics, and your video clips, and I'll repost it for you, because you know how it is. Iron sharpens iron, progressive overload your life. In the meantime, keep dream chasing. Peace.